This is the first video of Python basics training, and we will cover Python keywords and identifiers. If you have not set up Python, please visit the link below to set up Python 3.8 on your device so that you can follow along. Let us start with keywords in Python. Keywords are the reserved words in Python. These cannot be used as variable names, function names, or class names. There are 33 keywords in Python 3.8. By printing keyword.kwlist, you can check out all the keywords defined in your version of Python. All the keywords except true, false, and none are in lowercase and must be written as they are. The list of all keywords is shown here. Let us use a few keywords and see what Python would do. If you are aware of AND operator in semiconductors, you should be able to guess these. In the first case, true and false would return a false, as both are not true. Remember, AND would return true only when both are true. For the second statement with an OR, it would return true, as just one of them needs to be true. Note, I just used the word statement. What is a statement in Python? Instructions that a Python interpreter can execute are called statements. For example, a equal to 1 is an assignment statement. If statement, for statement, while statement, etc. are other kinds of statements which will be discussed later. Sometimes the statements can span multiple lines, and we can write a program with a set of statements. In this scenario, we did not write a whole program. We just wrote one quick statement and executed that. Let us try writing a set of statements. Let's say it's a block of code. Assert statement is another statement we use for debugging purposes. Here we have a set of statements that we're going to execute together, and that is going to show us if the variable vowel has a valid value. When we execute these statements together, the computer executes them in the order of the statements. There are 4 lines in this block of code, and they'll be executed one after the other. First this one, then next, and so on. If I execute this, assert is going to throw an error, as T is not a vowel. Now, when I change the value to E, it's going to work without throwing an error. If you're new to programming and did not understand the statements in this block of code, do not worry. We'll cover those concepts soon. At this point, just understand that the statements are executed one after the other. As we started talking about reserved words, I want to point out that this Jupyter notebook is highlighting the keywords in green. The IDE that you are using may do it in a different color. The other words that are used in the code block are identifiers. An identifier is a name given to entities like classes, functions, variables, etc. It helps differentiate one entity from another. Here, let us try assigning the value of 1 to the variable named global. As global is a Python keyword, we're getting an error executing the statement. Here, I'm going to define a method using the reserved keyword in and define a class named continue. In both these scenarios, we'll see that we're not allowed to use keywords. What if I use a variable name a? Let me assign the value of hello world, and I'm going to try to print that value. Now, this works. What if I print the same variable a, but I mistyped it with an uppercase A? Would Python understand it? No. Python would not be able to identify uppercase A as it's not defined yet. Naming your variable A, though, did work for us. So would that be a valid Python name? Yes, definitely. But anyone who reviews your program would be very worried. There are typical naming conventions that Python programs follow. And let us just look at the conventions for Python variables now. The rules for variable naming in Python are simple. Just use lowercase. Don't start with numbers or special characters. Use underscore as a separator. Avoid single variable characters like x, n, etc. Private variables should always start with an underscore. For naming conventions for methods, classes, etc., please visit the link below. This gets us to the end of this lesson. We'll start with an assignment. The first assignment is going to be very simple. You would write a program to get 2 numbers as input from the user and print the sum of the 2 numbers. These numbers the user inputs could be integers or real numbers, those numbers with decimal places. The solution is available in the link below.